शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 5th chapter, verse number 37. Sri Maitreya explained how Lord created the various elements by the power of Kala, or time potency, and thus influenced Maya or Prakriti and the various elements beginning from Mahatattva up to the earth came into existence. But all this, after it was created, still was not able to come together and make the universe. And this is what is being described in this verse. It says, Ete devaha kala vishnuhu kala mayan salinginaha nanatvatva kriyanisha prochu pranjali yogehu. That they were not able to perform the act kriya anisha. This anisha, that they were not able to create or perform the activity of universe, and nanatvat, although they had various varieties, but they could not combine together, because to create something the elements have to come together, not that they stay separate, independent from each other. So then the demigods or the deities of each element, which are also Kala Vishnu, means they are potency of Vishnu, and they also indicate Kala Maya Ansha, time, Maya and living entity. These three means they are manifestation of these three. So then they prayed to the Lord with the folded hands. And Lord is called here as Vibhu. Vibhu means powerful. That we cannot create, so please help us. So folding hand means that I am unable to do, or I am waiting for you. What shall I do? This is what it means. Pranjalayo, Prochu. And they recited the following prayers in which they supplicate the Lord to create. So basically this verse again explains that without Lord's help, nothing is possible. Although we as human beings want to take credit, but nothing happens without the grace of the Lord. And even these elements themselves are not able to mix. So there are various causes when any action is performed or any work is performed. And the ultimate cause is the Lord. As Krishna says that behind every action there are 5 causes. Adhishtanam tatha karta, karanam cha prathavinam, vivdhascha prathak chesta, daivam chatra pancham. So the 5th one is Daiva, or the divine person. And others are the effort of the living beings and the material nature, time. So without Lord it was not, the elements were not mixing. So first the elements which were created, they were unmixed. And then he mixed it. And then only the Brahmanda appeared, the universe came into existence. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes a nice commentary on this. He has his own view on it. Says Nanu ete mahad ahankarade eva svair gunair badhva swarga narkadishu muhuhu kshipanto jivan sansarant. He says that these elements like mahatattva, ahankar, the ego, and so on, these are the root cause of all our problems. We are having problem because of ego, right? Yes or no? We all face the ego problem, either because of our own ego or somebody else's ego. All the fights, exploitations, dissensions, possessions, troubling, these things happen because of ego. So he says that by themselves and by their qualities, they bind the living being. We are bound because of ego only. Manaiva manushyanam karanam bandha moksha. We are bound by our mind, by our desires which are coming in the mind. And then ego is the one who appropriates these desires, think this is my desire. Actually desire is happening in the mind. Then what ego says, it is my desire. It's not ego's desire. Because the desire is not coming in the ego. It's happening in the mind. And mind has nothing to do with ego. These are two separate things. So when the desire comes in the mind, then ego jumps on it. Says, oh, this is my desire. Then to fulfill that desire, the body is used. Hands, legs, tongue, whatever. When the job is done, then ego jumps on it. I did it. Didn't do anything. So Krishna very clearly says, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. That all the works are being done by the gunas of Prakriti. All karmani sarvasha. But ahankara means I did it. Vimudhatma kartani tivan. So it says I did it. So he is called Vimudhatma, the bewildered fellow. So everybody is bewildered. So he says that, and then you are bound, because as soon as you say I did it, or I own it, or I possess it, then you are bound to it. When you possess something, you think you are the possessor, but you are the slave, because you become controlled by that thing. Whatever you possess, you are controlled by that. See the principle. Although we think that we are controlling it. So that example of this man was walking with his cow on the road. He has bought the cow from somewhere, and when you buy the cow, you have to hold it with the rope and take it to your house. So one teacher was also walking behind with his students, and he was lecturing them that how when you possess something, you become controlled by it. So he gave the example, look, this man, he has bought this cow. So he is the owner of the cow, but actually he is the slave of the cow. He is thinking that cow is under his control, but he is under the control of the cow. So the man also heard it. So he says, what are you saying, that I am slave, I am the owner? So the teacher said, no, you are not the owner, you are the slave. You are owner, but you are also the slave. He says, what do you mean slave? It is in my control, I am holding the rope, I can take her. He says, no. So he started arguing. So the teacher said, okay, I will prove it to you, how you are controlled by this cow and you are the slave. So he went near to him, and in a second he snatched the rope from his hand, and then he threw the rope on the cow. So the cow immediately ran. So the guy became angry. He says, why, what did you do? This was my cow. He says, go on. So now the man is running behind the cow. So he says, look, now you're running behind the cow. The cow will never run behind you. So she is free and you are free. Who is running behind whom? So you are the slave of the cow, or cow is your slave? He says, you are the slave. Because cow is never going to run behind you. So when you own something, you own a car, you own a house, you own anything, you become controlled by it. And then you become worried you're going to lose it. So that's why in the yoga, one of the yama is aparigraha, not to have possessions. Because more possessions you have, more troubles. Of course, on path of bhakti you need to serve, and therefore you have to keep, otherwise you cannot serve. But then you have to know that you are not the owner, Krishna is the owner. You have to take care of things, but don't think that you are the master, or you are the owner, or you are the controller. It is Krishna. And then only you will remain free from the trouble. Otherwise, you will become bound by it. So that's what he is saying. He says, Nanvete mahad ahankarade eva svair gunair badhva narkadishu muhukshipanta. So this ahankar, etc., they bind a person. Person means all person, jivan, all living beings in this material world, they are all bound by these things, and then they are thrown into hell, and sometimes in heaven also. Swarga narkadeshu. So the heaven is also not such a comfortable thing as we think. It is a description given as if heaven is a very nice place and hell is very horrible. But if you start living in heaven, then after some time you also get problems there. Like people are living in India, poor people, they think if they go to America they will be very happy. Yes, some things are very nice, but after some time that place also has its own problems. So problems are everywhere. That's why Krishna says that this world is dukhalaya. It is a house of misery. Wherever you go, misery will not leave you like a shadow. Wherever you go, your shadow is behind you. So like that, the misery follows. It doesn't matter whether you possess or you don't possess. If you don't possess, then also you are miserable. unless you are actually non-possessed in the mind. Otherwise all the poor people will become yogis because they don't have much possessions. But they are also hankering to live in a palace. So therefore he says that they are thrown into heaven and hell. Otherwise he will not say heaven if heaven was a nice place. Because he says they are thrown. That okay, now you suffer in heaven. And now you suffer in hell. And when you have suffered in both places, come back to earth. And then create more karma. So earth is the place to earn credit, to suffer. And with credit, you can choose. That is the only advantage. Suffering has to be there. The rich man was telling to his son that, son, don't waste all your time in making money because I did it all my life. You should study Bhagavad Gita. Son was not ready to study. It's very rare that father tells the son to study Bhagavad Gita. Usually they will say, why are you wasting your time in Bhagavad Gita? You should learn something to make money. But this father fortunately became intelligent after making a lot of money and realizing. So he was telling his son that he should learn some philosophy. So the son was just like the father before he was rich. And he says, why? So, because money alone cannot give you happiness. So the son said, money may not give you happiness, but you have the choice which type of misery you want. When you are poor, you don't have choice. And you have to just suffer the way it comes. And rich people can choose whether they want to suffer in New York or they can go to Hawaii. So therefore, on earth we make credit of going to heaven or to hell. But suffering is there everywhere. So therefore he says sansarayanti, that you go into this cycle and suffer. Tadami nirhetu drohinaha sarvatha vidhansaniya evaiti. So he says, therefore he says, these people are like traitors or troublemakers. All this mahatattva which we heard now, ahankar, mind, senses, they are all troublemakers. We should revolt against them. What you are saying, we have to respect them, they are praying. He says they must be just destroyed completely. Once for all. Then if there is no bamboo, there is no flute. So if you are being troubled by the guy by playing his flute and making noise, cut all the bamboos. So he says all the problems are coming from these elements. If the elements are not there, then there is no heaven, no hell. So he says sarvatha vidhansaniya eva, they must be destroyed. So for this he says maivam vadi, says don't speak like this. He says nirhetur upkarinaha pratyut arhaniya eva. He was saying that they are causelessly troublemaker. They make trouble without any reason. Because what do the ahankar and mahatattva get by causing us trouble? Nothing. They don't get anything. So he says that just as they are troublemaker, they can also do welfare to you without any reason. Nirhetuk upkarinaya. And therefore they should not be destroyed but worshipped. तथा ही मोक्ष साधनानि ज्ञान योग निष्काम कर्माणि एतैर विना न सिद्ध्यन्ति. So he gives an example. He says whether you want to follow jnana yoga or Karma Yoga, it is not possible without the help of these elements. So mind is problematic, but mind is also the instrument by which you cross over this material world, by fixing the mind on Krishna. Krishna says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. Therefore, all the time you remember me and fight. So how will we remember if we don't have mind? Some people get Alzheimer, they cannot remember anything. So how will they fix their mind on Krishna? They will forget Krishna also. So mind is very important, although it's making a lot of trouble, but it can be also very good. Therefore, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshaya. Money is the cause of bondage and also of liberation. So therefore we should worship mind, because we can use it. Tatha prema sadhanani Shravana Kirtana Smarana Dasya Sakhyadini api Bhagavat Kripa Upavyanjitair Edhiraiva Siddhyanti. And then if you want to attain prema, love for Krishna, then for that you have to do sadhana bhakti. Rupa Goswami has made 3 divisions of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, prema bhakti. So prema is the prayojan, the ultimate thing to be attained. Prema, pumartho mahan, the supreme goal of life. But for that we have to do sadhana, practice. And practice is in the form of hearing, chanting, remembering, or meditating as servant, friend of Krishna. So that is not possible without these elements which have been blessed by the Lord. Of course, simply mind cannot remember Krishna. No matter how much you try, it is always running to some material objects, material desires, material goals. You can sit down and try to chant or meditate on Krishna, but mind will run away. Only when it has got the blessings of Krishna, then it becomes fixed. Otherwise it is always going to the samsara. Mind itself is the samsara. Mind is the world. So therefore he says, Bhagavat Kripa Upavyanjitai. They have been blessed by Lord Kripa. Then they become fixed. So the senses are made in such a way that they are running away. This is stated in Kathopanishad. Vyatranat Swayambhu Param Pashyati Natu Antarmatman Yaschid Dhira Pratyagatmanam Pashyati. So they are always running outside. Paranchi Khani Vyatranat Swayambhu Param Pashyati Antaratma. They are designed in such a way that the senses are always running away from us. All our senses, the external and internal. Of course, the external senses go only away. The eyes cannot see inside, only see outside. Nose cannot smell inside, only outside. And the inside sense also, the mind is inside, but it is never thinking of ourselves. We are sitting here, the mind is never aware of the body. It's always going somewhere other than. Well, the body is external, but even there it is not fixed. It is going somewhere outside. So therefore in the Kathopanishad it is saying that Paranchi Khani Vyatranat Swayambhu. They are Paran Pashyati Nantara. They are designed like, the design itself is like. So what can we do? So Kasyat Dhira Pattag Atman Akshat. Only some sober person, dhira, who is stable, fixed, starts seeing inside. So we have to bring all our vrittis, all our deviations of the mind going here and there to inner self. This is the use of mind, intelligence, ego, etc. Then we will be stable in devotion. So this happens only by grace, and that comes by sadhusam. Susrusha Sradhadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syam Bhet Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirthan Shevanat. Susrusha, desire to hear and also desire to serve. When we desire to hear or we desire to serve, then we become attached to hearing Vasudeva Katharuchi. And how does one get this ruchi? Says Sat Mahat Sevaya, by doing service to the devotees, and Punya Tirthan Shevanat, by living in a holy dham like Vrindavana. And when one does that, then heart becomes purified and becomes attracted to the inner self, the Supreme Lord who is within. Inner, it does not mean just inside the body, but who is not the matter, who is away from the matter, or different from the matter. So therefore he says that these elements are also necessary. Kincha paradara paradravya apaharane go brahman drohadi vividha patakani narak sadhanani etaireva siddhyanti nayate dushniya. So he says that all these activities, such as having illicit relationship with somebody else's wife, or capturing somebody's wealth, killing a cow or a brahmana, or such other heinous crimes which are the means for suffering, they are all performed by these material elements. But he says, still, they don't have to be criticized, because they can also do the other thing. Bhagirathya jalam sajjananam snanapanadibhi param pavanam amritam eva kulastesu trina gulmadishu dhanya godhumadishu pan samradaksha karkadishu pravishtam sarvavidha jananam paramutkarkam param sukhadamapi विषवृक्षेषु प्रविष्टं तेषामेव साक्षात् मार्गम इति भागीरथी जलस्य न दोषः. So he says, why he should not criticize or find fault with these elements. He gives an example. He says that the water of Ganga is very pious and pure. So the devotees, saintly people, they go there, they take a dip in it. Now it is Magh Mela. So you go to Prayag, you take a dip in Ganga. So it is very purifying. And drink the water, then it purifies inside also. Parama Pavanam Amritam eva. It is just like nectar, very pure. Because this is coming from the feet of the Lord. That is for the saintly people. Then there are trees on the bank of Ganga. There are creepers, trees, crops. There are also fruit trees like mango or draksha grapes and some other trees. So he says the same water goes and it gives nourishment to all these trees. For the mango tree it gives nourishment, then you get nice mango. For the grapes you get very sweet grapes and other fruits. So he says that it does welfare to every one of these people and trees and gives supreme happiness. But if there is a poisonous tree or neem tree, then it goes and it also increases the poison of the tree. And then that tree becomes the killer. Someone eats the leaves of this poisonous tree and he will die. Saksham Markamiti. So is this the defect of Ganga water? This is not the defect of Ganga water. You cannot criticize the Ganga water. Ganga water is very purifying. So same is the case with the senses, mind, intelligence, etc. Kintu tattat upatrasya yatha tatha. So he says that the defect is in the pot or who is taking the water. If the poisonous tree is taking Ganga water, then the Ganga water is not to be blamed, it is the tree who has a DNA to turn this water into poison. And if its water is taken by a mango tree, then it has a DNA which turns the mango water into sweet juice of the mango. So it is not the defect of the water. So he said, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tanaham dvistah kruran sansaresu naradhaman Shipam yajasram masubhan ashrusyeva yonishu. Says that these cruel people who are envious and the lowest of living beings, I regularly throw them to the hellish species of life. Asurushiyeva yonishu. So is Krishna to be blamed for this? So he says that to these cruel and sinful people, I give a hellish birth, inauspicious. So it is not his defect if he is doing it. It is not that he is against these people, but they deserve it. If the king is punishing a criminal, then or the government is punishing the criminal, then is government or the judge is to be blamed for that? No. He is punishing because of the wrong act performed by the person. So he is not to be blamed. So similarly, the elements are not to be blamed if we use them for performing immoral acts, irreligious acts. Then we cannot blame the hands and legs. We should blame the person sitting inside. Bhagavad-ukti anusarene teshu durjiveshu sthitanam esham adhikrita bhaktanam ko dosha kintu tesham eve. So he says that there is no defect in the elements because these elements are actually devotees, because they are going to pray now. He says that Durjivesu Sthitanam Esham Adhikrita Bhaktanam. He is calling these elements as ego, Mahatattva, all these are tattvas. They say that they are all devotees because they will pray to the Lord beginning from the next verse. But they are situated in sinful people. So it is not their fault if somebody is misusing them. Durjivashu. Kintu tesameva. So it is the fault is of the person. Vastutastu ete param Vaishnava eva. He says in reality they are param Vaishnavas. They are great devotees because they are serving the Lord. Whether it is water or earth, earth is also a devotee. Mother Earth, water is also devotee. Varun Devata, Vayu is also devotee. So they are all devotees. So it says they are Param Vaishnavas. But we are the one who are misusing them. Iti etat kritaya stutya eva abhiyanjitum ah etat deva. And to inform this, he is going to explain that how they are going to pray to the Lord. If they are not devotees, why they are praying to the Lord? And that's why they are called Deva here. So, Vishnu Bhakta Deva Prakta. The devotees of Vishnu are called Deva and Asuras Tada Viparaya. And those who are non-devotees, they are called Asura. Dev Bhuta Sargo Leke Asmin Deva Asura. So there are only two types of creation, Deva and Asura. So those who are devotees, they are called Deva. And non-devotees are called Asura. So they have been called here as Deva in this verse. Ete Deva Kala Vishnu. They are power of Vishnu. That's why I say that they are Vaishnavas. So, Mahedadi Abhimanina Vishnu Kala Maya Shakti Vrittitvat. It says they are having the ego of being Mahatattva. There is one deity of Mahatattva, and this deity thinks I am Mahatattva. Then there is some deity of the water, it thinks I am water. So they are all energy of Vishnu, means they are manifestation of Maya Shakti of Lord Vishnu. Kalalingam Vikritihi Mayalingam Viveka Harsha Shokadi Anshalingam Chetana Tani Vidyante Yeshante. So he says that in the verse there are three things which are mentioned: Kalalinga, Maya and Ansha. So they have three things. One is the time factor. So time is the cause of Vikriti, modification or transformation. So the lower element has got more influence of time on it. Because there is Prakriti, and by the influence of time there is Mahatattva. And when time acts further, then there is Ahankara or ego. So as you go further down on the line, there is more and more influence of time on that. So earth has the maximum influence of time. And Maya Lingam, and they also have the influence of Maya in the form of the qualities like happiness, distress, discrimination, and so on. And Anshalinga refers to consciousness. So all these deities of these elements, they also have consciousness in them, they are living beings. Tani Vidyante Yeshanti. Part of anything is called Ansha. But here it refers to consciousness. अतः समत्वेन नानात्वात् परस्पर असंबंधत्वात् स्वक्रियायां ब्रह्मांड रचनायां मनीषा असमर्था. So because they were equal, they were many, but they had these three things in them, and therefore they were not able to mix together. Something was missing. By their action, they were not able to create the universe. Therefore, they prayed to the Lord. And Lord is called here as Vibhu, which means powerful. That means He has the ability to perform the act of creation. Tattvanam esham sahasaiva sarvendriyavat tanumatvam atarkyaya bhagavat ichshaktya eva iti tadichaya ananya prekshatva dyotnartham idam. Now one may ask a question that we were only hearing that the elements were created. So how these demigods suddenly got their senses? Of course, it was also said that there were devas, Vaikarikasya ye deva arthabhiyanjanam yata, that devas came into existence. So he says that they got all senses by the inconceivable power. Sarvendriyavat tanumatvam atarkeya bhagavad shaktya, by the inconceivable power of the Lord. And this is to show that Lord's will is not dependent on anything else. Lord can perform any act and he does not have to depend on anything for that. So these are the devas, and now they are reciting prayers, which will start from next verse 38 and will go up to the 50th verse. Deva uchuhu, the devas, they prayed. Namamete deva padara vindam prapanna tapopashamata patram yanmulaketa yatiyonja soru sansara dukkham bahir utkshipanti. Said, O Lord, we are bound down to you. So they are folding their hands and they are offering their obeisances. First thing. This is the easiest thing one can do, offer obeisances. And they say that we are offering our obeisances to your feet, Padarvindam. Because Padarvind means the lotus feet. Krishna's feet have the sign of lotus flower. Therefore they are called lotus feet. And this signifies complete surrender. And it also signifies service. Surrendering to feet means that we are ready to do service to you. This is the meaning of folding hand, that our hands are now available for you. What do you want us to do? We will use these hands in your service. That's what folding means. And prapanna tapopa shamat atapatram. He says that you are like an umbrella to quell the misery of those who have surrendered to you. So umbrella in Sanskrit is called atapatram. Atapa means the sunlight, and Atapatratra means the protector. That which protects you from the sunlight is called Atapatram. So just like there is heat from the sun and people are suffering, so they take an umbrella to protect themselves. The Lord's feet are also compared to an umbrella, because people in this material world are suffering from three types of heat, three tap. The miseries are also compared to heat. So adhyatmik, adhidevik, adhibhautik. Three types of miseries are tap. Therefore he says, tap upsama atapatram. So if the only solution for all our miseries is to take shelter of Krishna's feet. Otherwise one can run anywhere, then one will suffer. Like Durvasa Muni, when he was chased by Sudarshan Chakra. So Sudarshan Chakra also made from fire. It is very hot. So it was running behind Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa was feeling the heat on his back. And he ran, he went all over the planet, into other planets. He went to Brahma, he went to Shiva. Nobody was able to give him shelter. Then he went to Lord Vishnu, and he gave him a solution. So when he surrendered to Lord Vishnu, then he was freed from the trouble. So that is the situation with living beings in the material world. That we can find solutions to our problems. We are always trying to find a solution. And Prahlad Maharaj says that the solution is more troublesome than the problem. This is his observation. Like you take medicine to remove your disease, this modern medicine, the disease is gone, it creates another disease, which can be more dangerous than the original one. So in this material world, this is what happens, that the solution is more problematic than the problem. And the only solace is shelter of Krishna's feet. Nothing else. No one can else. Nobody can help. Never. Impossible. So therefore he says, Yanmula Keta. Then he is giving example, Yatiyo Anjasoru, that the renounced people, Yatis, who are controlling their senses, when they take shelter, Mula Keta, Mula means the root or underneath, and Keta is like a flag on your head. Then Anjasoru Sansara Dukkham, then very easily they cross over the material miseries. Bahir Utkshipante, then they kick away these miseries away from them. So this is the simple solution given by them. Atapatram Kshatram. Atapatra means Kshatra, which is umbrella. Yasya Padarvindasya Moolam Talam Keta Ashrayo Yesam. Those who have taken the shelter of the root of Lord's feet. Krishna's feet has many marks. So one of them, one mark is also umbrella. He has lotus feet, he has barley, he has bow and arrow, one pot, swastik. Many symbols are there on his feet. So umbrella is also there. So why umbrella? Because his feet are like the umbrella for the suffering human beings. If we come under his feet, then suffering stops. That's what he is saying here. Eva yatiyo nani. So only those who are yatis, who have decided to not engage in material sense pleasures. They are called yati, renounced sannyasi, who are not interested, not necessarily that those who are wearing saffron dress or carrying a danda in their hand, but anybody who has given up the interest to enjoy material sense objects is called yati. So they easily can, sigram eva, very quickly, samulam eva, sansar dukkham, swagatra lagnam, jaloksham eva. So he says that this material misery, it's just like this animal which sticks to the body. What is it called? I forget in English. Leech. So he says this material misery is like a leech it sticks to your body and drinks your blood and gets fat. And you don't know this, it is sticking there. So then this, just as you can throw it away from your body. You have seen leech?
Yes. No, I don't think I have seen leech actually.
Hmm?
No, I don't think I have seen leech.
No, in India, because
I know they use them in Arabic.
they use them in Ayurveda, but in India these buffaloes, they go and they lie in the pond and they are inside the pond and they stick to their body and drink their blood. These water buffaloes, they stick to their body because water buffaloes like to go inside the water and they are there. So when they come out with the leeches. And you have to remove them off. And they really stick. And they just suck the blood, and I think they don't need to digest, it just goes into their body. Because I've seen they're small and suddenly they become big. So it looks like that they just, and they're like full of blood. So he says this is leech, Jalokasha. In Sanskrit they are called Jalokasha. Jala means water and Okasha means house. Means they live in water. Balena niskasya bahir durta eva uchchikritya kshipanti. So just like you take, he's giving this example that forcibly you take this out and you throw it away. So he says like this, the devotees, they throw away the misery, toss them into the air. Yatha punah sva samipam nayati, so that it doesn't come back to you again. Atra anjasa iti uru iti bahir iti utshipanti iti padais tad anashriti yatayo vilambenaiva napi samulam tatha kshipanti yatha tan punah samsara grasti. So he says that the 4 words are used here. Anjasa means they throw it away easily. And Uru, they throw it with power. Means they remove it easily, but they throw it with power so that it goes very far away. And Bahir Utshipanti, they throw it away. So he says this words signify that those people who have not taken shelter of the Lord, even if they are doing some spiritual practice, then they may also throw away their miseries, but it will take a long time. Not easily, not quickly. Number 1. Number 2, even if they throw it away, it will not go away completely. Something will remain sticking. And number 3, they throw it away, it does not go very far away, so it will come back. This is what it signifies. Therefore he says that these other sannyasis, they will again fall back into the material world. So as in 10th canto, patanti adha anadrit yusmad ankhay aruhya kritshena param padam tata patanti adha. That even if they attain some high position with great difficulty, again they fall down because they do not take shelter of the Lord's feet. So this is the difference between devotees and those who are not devotees and following spiritual practice. Sooner or later they will come back into the same position. They will go become knowledgeable, intelligent, learned, but they will come back. Yadyapi tadanim yatayo na vartamte sma. So now somebody can ask a question that when these devas were praying, there were no yatis at that time, there were no sannyasis. Why they are talking about? Because nothing was created. So he says they know the future. That in future there will be some sannyasis and devotees. Tadapi sarva shastra siddhanta vigyataya eva tattvida trikalagyas tatha. Because they know the conclusion of the scriptures and they know the siddhanta, and they are Trikalagya. They know what will come in future. So with that they are speaking this statement. Just to be understood like this. I'll stop here.
So then, there is no such a thing that we have to think that ahankara or there is something bad. It's only the use.
Nothing is bad, nothing is good. It depends how you use it.
Because sometimes we think, oh, this ego is bad. We have to overcome the ego.
If you're using it to harm others, then it is bad.
Yeah. And about this special kripa, we have seen that it comes from the Lord. This is that he's described the disciple whom he went to get.
That is his discretion, of course.